Welcome back to the World of AQUA. I'm Samantha, and in this episode, we'll be covering V-Light system and tape-in extensions. I'm here with my beautiful model, Liz, and we'll be using Liz today for a V-Light demonstration. The V-Light system is our latest innovation utilizing adhesive as well as an LED curing system to cure individual hair extensions onto the natural hair. The V-Light system is so phenomenal because it can be placed in the hair where no other hair extension can live. So for instance, weft tape-in extensions, there is a stopping point in the front hairline where the extensions will be exposed if they're placed too close. Okay? With V-Light extensions, you could really push the limits. The extensions can be placed right at the hairline where the hair is thinning or fine, as well as in the crown if your guest tends to split pretty far back or is fine and fragile. V-Light extensions are perfect for those instances. With V-Light extensions, this is not a system that is meant for a full head application. V-Light is perfect for just those targeted areas where the hair is maybe fine and fragile, or if you need pops of color. Another huge benefit of V-Light extensions is the versatility of hair used. So since we are using single individual strands of hair, you can use any hair extension system. So I can use a weft, tape-ins, fusion, cylinder. I can really use any extension system and just cut the bond or the weft off and utilize the single strands of hair. So the next question probably is, how long does this system last? If it's not meant for a full head application, if it's truly meant for these targeted areas, how long does it last and what does that look like? So with the V-Light system, think about V-Lights like eyelash extensions. Okay, so when you get an eyelash extension application, you first come in for your full set. That full set will last roughly 2 to 3 weeks until you need your first fill, okay? It's the same exact thing with V-Light extensions. You get that first application, and then your guest comes back in for her fill every 2 to 8 weeks, depending on which technique you're using. So we have 3 techniques that we offer at AQUA. We recommend doing an invisible light, a blended light, and a bold light. All 3 applications will last a little shorter or longer depending on which one you choose. Let's get into the application, and while I do this, I'm going to show you what tools and products are necessary for this system. First, I'm going to demonstrate the invisible technique within the V-Light system. So what I'll need is my V-Light machine as well as my V-Light adhesive. Remember, when you're using the V-Light adhesive, it first needs shaken for 60 seconds before any and every use. Once you've shaken your adhesive for at least 60 seconds, go ahead and section where you're needing to place the extensions and place the concentrated nozzle tip on your adhesive. Let's apply our invisible light. So let's look at Liz's hairline. She does have a lot of dense hair. So for a traditional V-Light application, she may not be my perfect candidate in the sense where she comes in to visit me seeking out V-Light. However, you can look at her hairline here, and she is a little bit finer, just as most clients are, right around the hairline where V-Light would definitely be a great option. So I went ahead and sectioned, and I'm going to place my first invisible light here towards the front of her hairline where, again, she is a little bit more fine and my invisible light is not going to be exposed. When applying my V-Light extensions, I always first section the amount of hair that's needed for the technique that I'm doing. So this is my invisible light. I will section for that. And I'm always using my shield to protect the natural hair from the adhesive, as well as keep this section isolated. So I'm going to clip that in place. For this V-Light demonstration, I'm actually using a hand-tied weft for the application. However, remember, you can use any hair extension. For the hand-tied weft, I like to keep it bundled, and I'm just going to choose the necessary amount of hair that I'll need for this specific application. So I'll choose my hair here and cut. Since I used a hand-tied weft and there are return or mustache hairs, I just want to pinch a little lower and shake off any mustache hairs that may have got cut with this section. Before I apply, I simply want to disperse this weight line by pulling up a few strands of hair. This will just allow for a much softer application. Once I fan the hair out, get that demarcation line a little softer, I'm ready to apply. So let's apply our invisible light. I'm going to grab her natural hair, lay the extension hair directly on top, fan out the extension hair, making sure I'm not too close to the scalp. I'm going to grab my V-Light comb and press the extension hair into her natural hair. And then I'll grab my adhesive, and I'm using the black adhesive to match her natural base tone. When we're using and choosing adhesives, I choose the black adhesive if I am applying on a natural or a base level of a 7 or below, and I choose clear adhesive on a level 8 and above. Both adhesives are super translucent, so this black adhesive is not going to be a deep, dense black. It's going to have a little bit of a matte finish though, so I like to choose the black adhesive on dark hair. The clear adhesive is a little bit more shiny, so the clear adhesive works really well on a level 8 and above. So I'll take my black adhesive and place my dots straight across from my invisible light. So I'm laying that adhesive right across the extension hair, feathering it up, ensuring that the adhesive gets above the extension hair. Then I'll take my V-Light comb, brush the adhesive up. I'm never brushing the adhesive down because I do not want a really long bond. I want a nice, short, very light bond that's able to be hidden and invisible in the hair. Take my comb side, separate the strands. So once the adhesive is exactly where I want it to be, I'm ready to cure. A major benefit to the V-Light adhesive is it does need the LED light to cure. So I can manipulate and work this adhesive as much as I want. It's never going to dry like typical glue would. It does have that photo initiator in the adhesive that requires the LED to cure the adhesive. Lastly, I'll go ahead and cure. Halfway through my cure on my invisible light, I drop the hair and just really separate strand by strand to make sure it's very natural. I'll have a second cure on the top. Notice the guard that's placed on my machine protects my eyes, but also protects her. This LED light, the actual light itself, is no wider than my shield that's in her hair, as well as the guard on my light. So I wanna make sure I'm not curing out here, I'm not curing down, I'm not curing up. I definitely am never shining this light directly in her eyes. I'm making sure that it's lined up perfectly with my shield. This will protect her as well as myself. Lastly, I'll do one more cure under the hair, making sure the underside of the adhesive is fully cured. Once I have my 3 cures, I go ahead and remove my clips as well as my shield. And I always run my fingers through my extension hair. I pull out any hairs that did not get cured. And my first V-Light invisible light is complete. So I just demonstrated the invisible light within the V-Light system. This invisible light has the least amount of natural hair, extension hair, as well as adhesive for this application. It can be placed very close to the hairline, as you can see, and be super invisible in the hair. Like I mentioned before, we do offer our blended and our bold lights as well that have more natural hair, more adhesive, a longer wear time. So I encourage you, if you're interested in these other techniques, we do have a fully dedicated V-Light webinar that you can watch and see the invisible, blended, and bold. In this V-Light webinar, we also discuss and dive deep into all things V-Light maintenance, consultation, and everything you need to know about the V-Light system. I'm back here with Liz, and now we're gonna dive into tape and extensions. We all know tape and extensions are not new. They've been on the market for quite some time. However, I do love at Aqua, we are on top of the latest innovation of every system, and our tape and extensions are no exception. Our tape and extensions are so unique compared to our competitors because we do have this polyurethane seal on the outside of our extensions. Unlike other brands that may be sewn individual hairs or individual hairs attached to the outside of the extension, with this polyurethane seal, it allows minimal shedding and longevity. Our tape and extensions come with 10 pieces per pack that can create 5 paneled extensions together or 10 individual tape and extensions using our single-sided tape. Each tape and extension panel is 1.5 inches wide. Within our tape and extension line, we offer 2 different retape options as well as single-sided tape. So first, let's talk about the retape tabs. We have our traditional retape tabs. They come with 60 pieces per pack, and these retape tabs are what is manufactured on the tape and extensions. So they will last 6 to 8 weeks in the hair, And a huge benefit is you do not have to remove your old retape before retaping over. They are very slim, very fine, and they can be placed directly over top of the retape already on your extensions. Our easy retape tabs are latex free, and our retape tabs contain latex. So you choose the one that fits your guest best. Now let's talk about our single-sided tape. The single-sided tape is a great addition when you're utilizing tape-in extensions. Let's say your guest has finer hair, or maybe you're just adding pops of color, and 2 tape-in extension panels together are just too dense or not necessary. Single-sided tape is phenomenal for those instances because you can use one individual tape-in extension panel and back-end it with single-sided tape. What I love about our single-sided tape is it's very strong and sturdy and allows for that same durability as an extra tape-in extension would. Now let's start our tape-in demonstration. So I'll begin by applying 2 tape-in extension panels to create one complete panel. First, I'll take the backing off of my tape-in extension, and this will expose the adhesive, but notice I'm not touching the adhesive. I don't want to transfer any oils or product, anything from my fingers onto the adhesive, so I'll hold below the adhesive. Make sure you have a very clean, straight parting, and I place my first tape-in extension directly down onto the hair, roughly 1/4 inch below my section. Okay, press firmly on your tape-in extension, just ensuring her maximum density of hair grabs onto that adhesive. Next, I'll lift my tape-in extension, and you notice her natural hair is now stuck to that adhesive. I grab all of the natural hair that's stuck, removing any hair that's not in this 1.5 inch section, and I'll place my second tape-in extension underneath. Now I want to align my adhesive with the adhesive on the top, ensuring that the 2 are lined up perfectly before I panel them together. Once we're lined up, I drop my section, use my fingers to press firmly, and then I grab my tape-in pliers. My tape-in pliers are nice and flat, and they're roughly the same width of my adhesive on my tape-in extension. So I'm just going to a nice firm close on the right. This will eliminate any air pockets, any bubbles, and really press the corners of my tape-in extensions together. And I do the left side. And my first tape-in extension is complete. Now that we completed a full panel using 2 tape-in extensions, I'm going to show you what it looks like with 1 tape-in extension using single-sided tape. I'll start off the same way, peel the backing from the tape-in extension, lay the tape-in extension roughly 1/4 inch from the scalp, press firmly onto the hair, lift your tape-in extension, allowing for all the natural hair that grabbed a hold of the adhesive, flip that up, and remove any hairs that did not continuously catch. And now I'm going to grab my single-sided tape. So my single-sided tape, I just want to remove 1 single-sided piece. And again, ensuring that I'm not touching the adhesive. So I like to grab the single-sided tape on the sides here and peel it off. Notice my single-sided tape has a rounded edge and a straight edge, just like my tape-in extension does. So I do want to line up my straight edge and my rounded edge accordingly. So when you're ready, lay the single-sided tape onto the tape-in extension to ensure the entire area of adhesive is covered. Once you're good, use your fingers to firmly press, and then grab your tape-in pliers and press firmly on the right as well as the left. Now you can see the difference between 2 tape-in extension panels and 1 extension panel using single-sided tape. Now that we applied our tape-in extensions, let's talk about removal. So your guest will come back into the salon every 6 to 8 weeks for the removal and the reapplication process. With the removal process, we do offer 2 different extension removers, and they have a totally separate purpose. We have our express remover and our glide remover. The express remover is an alcohol-based remover that's used to remove and break down the adhesive on the tape-in extensions. The express remover will evaporate off of the extensions, and the huge benefit is you don't have to clarify or wash the extensions before they're reapplied. The glide remover is an oil-based remover. Now this remover, if ever placed on the extensions themselves, do need clarified and washed. So why do I have both and when would I use them? The express remover is used to spray on the extensions to remove them from the hair. The glide remover, if there's any residue left on the natural hair, once the tape-ins have been removed, the glide remover will relinquish any residue left over. Now, if you use the glide remover and it touches the extensions have to be clarified and washed because that oil is not going to evaporate away. If you only use express, you never have to rewash your extensions. When I'm doing my removal, again, I'm going to use my express remover. I'll spray above the bonds and let it seep down into my tape-in extensions just to allow for them to start to remove. I spray the top, I spray underneath, and this has to sit for 60 seconds before it starts working. So like I mentioned, when you're using your express remover, I do not have to physically wash my extensions before reapplication. And a major benefit to our retape tabs is I never have to remove the previous tape before I place my retape tabs right over top. They're very thin, very flexible, and you can allow for up to 4 retape tabs on one tape-in extension before they need removed. One of the challenges you may be experiencing with tape-in extensions is residue. What causes residue and how do I eliminate it? Residue could be caused from a few different things. Your client may be using excessive heat on the tape-in bonds with either a blow dryer or their hot tools. Excessive heat further drives the adhesive together, causing it to be a nightmare with removal. Another cause of excessive residue could definitely be the products your guest is using. In addition to the high temperatures of hot tools, temperature of water plays a big factor as well. Taking hot showers, saunas, or hot tubs could affect your adhesive as well. Not only the temperature of water could come into play, but absolutely the type of water you're using. If you have well water, mineral water, or hard water in general, could absolutely cause heavy residue when it comes to removal. If you want to learn more about maintenance, tips and tricks, or application of tape-in extensions, we offer live virtual and in-person certification courses.